Okay, so there has been moments on this channel where I have talked about, if you like, epiphany moments. Now, there was a big part in my sort of golfing career when I was a 6 handicap. So I was kind of like an aspiring pro, but only sort of a 6 handicap, which is, you know, quite a long distance away from becoming a professional golfer. And within a very short space of time, sort of 18 months, I progressed to a +3 golfer. Now, all of a sudden, when you're a +3 golfer, you're sort of getting closer to knocking on the door of the elitist standard, and not suggesting I was there, but I certainly was playing decent golf off a +3 handicap. What I've done is I've talked about a couple of videos in between that period of time. The reason why that's important is because what I'm always trying to do for you guys and students of mine is educate, and also talk about things that are like feelings and good drills, because that's how you're going to get an epiphany moment. Now, at times, some of you might be playing some good golf and you've got a nice swing thought that's working, and some of you might be playing some less good golf and you don't have a swing thought is working. So that's kind of what you're searching for, is that bit of understanding for what it is that you are fundamentally lacking in your game. And then also, if you can find a feeling or an explanation that helps you do that, then you should start to notice, similar to what happened to me, is I went from a kind of 6 handicapper to a very sort of low scratch golfer, and then very quickly to a plus handicapper. So I saw a significant drop in my game due to discovering a couple of things, one of which I'm going to share with you today. I talked about this before. I talked about a big influence on me was Tiger, and watching Tiger hit the golf ball. In a recent video, I sort of talked about, you know, when you see Tiger really sort of lifting up and hitting through the ball and having that sort of iconic finish where almost on occasions his hands look really high. And that was just something when I used to hit golf balls, I used to just try and mimic. I never really knew exactly what it was that I was mimicking, but I sort of knew when I hit a good golf shot, I felt very much in that type of position that I was watching Tiger do on the TV on a weekly basis. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about, if you are somebody who struggles with your ball striking, okay, what it is that you fundamentally need to change, and how we need to, and the reasons why you're going to end up sort of finishing more up through the golf ball. And we're going to talk exactly how you're going to do that in a step-by-step manner. Because when we hit the golf ball, what needs to happen is we need to make sure that, yes, we keep turning towards the target, but we need to find a way to get up, because as I get up, the club will drop down. And if I can get up as the club drops down, this is how we compress the ball. So the handle kind of goes up, and then as long as the handle is going up like so, I'm producing less loft, and that's going to produce that nice shallow sort of hitting action, which is going to give us great results. So it's a couple of things that we need to know, and we need to practice to do that. So let's get stuck in. One is like a recentering motion. Now, recentering motion basically means that what happens in the golf swing is we get set up, the pelvis moves a little bit to the right, it moves back to the center, if not slightly to the left, it then moves to the left, and then it stays on that left-hand side. Now, for myself, I am somebody who found more consistency allowing my pelvis to move more to the left earlier in my golf swing. And that's something that I share with lessons. So if I sort of hit a couple of shots here, you'll sort of see that by the time I get the club a couple of feet to the side of me in this position, as I then swing up, I'm kind of allowing my lower body to feel like it really moves towards that lead side. Because, like I say, that gives me a couple of things. One, it gives me momentum. I've talked about this before on the channel. So imagine us bowling, you'd kind of do this. You're sort of stepping forward as you're swinging back. So it gives me momentum. But what it also does, it gives me confidence of good contact. So I know that the big thing that's influencing my ability to strike the ball well is having that ability to move that lower body towards my lead side as I get towards the conclusion of my backswing. I know from there that I'm going to be okay with my contact, and I can get that sense of confidence. Now, what I would say is a real key feature within this move is also a element of lowering, okay? So if I sort of just mimic it for a moment, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mimic it just right hand only, just because by doing it right hand only, it gets my left hand out of the way so you guys can see a little bit more what's going on. So it's this type of motion. So I go back, weight pressure shifts to the trail side, keep my head still, and then slowly see what I'm doing here. Okay, so as I keep turning, what's happening is I'm not just shifting everything on my lead side. By the time I get to the top, I'm still keeping my weight 50-50. It's balanced between my heel and my lead toe, as I'm sort of demonstrating here. I'm also keeping my head still. Okay, so my head isn't moving this way. This will get me too vertical. My lower body's the one that is moving. My pelvis moves around this way. Okay, but can you also see the way that I'm lowering? So I'm allowing the pelvis to just drop a little bit. And again, the reason for that is because from here, I can then rotate towards that lead side, and then when I hit it, I have confidence to get up. The problem is if I sort of recentered quite just sort of horizontally, do you see what I mean? Then I still feel like I'm going to need to go down more in transition. Now, there's lots of different ways to swing the golf club. And one of the things that I say to all of my students is I'm not somebody who will teach necessarily a methodology. I'll work with the golfer based on how much time they have to practice, their physical limitations, and where they are in their own sort of, golf biomechanics. However, again, having a recentering motion, or this ability to sort of move this way as we're swinging back, was a massive moment in my golfing career, and still very much is to this day. I don't play a lot of golf, but when I do, one of the things that I can rely on is good ball striking. It's very rare for me to go out and play where I don't strike the ball very well. What tends to happen is my short game lets me down more so than anything else. So this type of motion here, this sort of lowering, is a real key feature. Boom, here. And I know here, this position, boom, boom. It's the same as throwing a ball. Boom, boom. I now know what the next step is. And from that position, once I've done that recentering, I can now just get the feeling of turning my pelvis, turning my chest towards the target. I move more weight into that lead side. So by the time I get into this position of the downswing, which is roughly left arm horizontal, all my weight is here. Okay. And then as I come in towards this hitting zone, I now know what I can do is I keep turning, I keep my head focused on the back of the golf ball, and this helps me produce that sort of thrusting motion, which means I can get that feeling of hitting up on the golf ball, really similar to what I do with Tiger. So the first thing you want to practice is the recentering move. Okay, you literally just want to get used to this type of position each and every time, and if you can do that, then you will start to be ready to work on the next stage. Stage is just hitting some shots from lead arm horizontal. Now, if I sort of just demonstrate, lead arm horizontal is roughly this position. Okay, my hand is likely to drop slightly lower than that because it's actually quite physically difficult to keep my arms there. But can you see what I'm doing is I'm allowing my weight to predominantly shift in towards this lead side. So what I'm going to do is I'm making sure my sternum is over the golf ball, if not slightly ahead. Everything is on this lead side, or pretty much everything is on this lead side. And I'm basically parallel to where I was in the beginning position, like so. And then I'm just going to hit some shots from this position. Now, this is a really difficult drill to do. But what you can do is when you're practicing this, is start here and just feel like I'm finishing up as I throw my arms down. Up as I throw my arms down. See what I'm doing here? Okay. And all this is doing is this is just teaching me, and teaching you, I should say, really, just to pivot around that left leg. So I've gone boom, boom, and now what I'm doing is I'm here. So all I'm doing is I'm just learning to sort of continue to rotate, throw my arms down as I swing through. And that's a really easy way to just sort of finish the swing, throw my arms down, like so. And what this drill will just teach you to do is just understand the importance of linear motion in the golf swing. So with most students that I meet, they don't move the pelvis enough towards the lead side. So by working on the recentering is vital. And then by just working on that sort of exercise of pausing at lead arm horizontal will bring you to a lot of awareness of how much weight pressure is on your left. Keep the weight pressure on the left. But obviously, because we're moving more upward as we're going towards this motion, that's how you're going to get that sort of shallowing motion as you throw your arms down. Now, if you're slightly uncertain of what this upward motion would really entail, all you're really trying to do is continue to turn. Okay, so from this leader, continue to rotate, but keep your head still. And that just produces a tilt. So it's not this, it's this, and that produces a sort of thrusting motion, which helps the club really ascend up on the ball. So might do a little backswing. Here I am, weight on the lead side, and then from here, very difficult to do, but I just want to get the feeling of now finishing the swing as I lift my arms up, and see where I am in this position. I'm nice and up, facing towards the target. And the thing with this drill is, yes, it's very difficult, but if you can learn to hit it from here, similar to what I'm doing there, and obviously going to get some miss hits, all of a sudden you're going to have that recognition of sequence. So for me, it's all a case of setting up, and I feel the first bit, the recentering, and then the up and through move. And then the reason why I can be reliant on playing consistent golf, at least from tee to green, is because I have this recognition of how I should move each and every time. And when I do that into my full swing, it's boom, boom, boom. And that just brings for me a repeatable sort of draw shape that I know that I can rely on. And at the time, it was the thing that took me to that next level of golfer and made me, well, happier and obviously more competitive. So I'm hoping this video helps. You guys can let me know. I'll see you soon.